presented by Regions. Reed Arena, College Station, Texas, Kentucky, and Texas A&M taking the floor as we get you going. Game one of our Thursday night doubleheader here on the SEC Network. And it is great to have you with us with Christy Thomas-Gutty. I'm Eric Freed. The penultimate day of the regular season in the SEC. So we're going to take a closer look at all 14 teams as they get ready for the tournament in Greenville next week and those who have hopes of making it to the NCAA tournament as we go along tonight. But let's focus on our game right here, Christy, because these are two teams that have dealt with injuries throughout the season. A&M early in the season, Kentucky more recently.
Absolutely, and Maddie Shear's the big piece for Kentucky that's been missing in the last 3 games, and it was evident on both ends of the floor. As Maddie Shear goes, especially on the offensive end, so goes the Wildcats. You see almost 15 points difference a game in scoring, but Eric, the part that sticks out most to me is that turnover margin, because you can't score if you don't have the ball. Maddie Shear is crucial to the productivity on the offensive end for the Wildcats.
So she left the Ole Miss game 3 games ago, missed the last 2 games. She is dressed and ready to go here tonight. Why is she a difference maker, Christy?
She's a competitor. She's going to find a way to will the Wildcats to a victory. She's almost doubled her scoring output in SEC play. Leads the team in assists, in steals. She's a 3-level scorer. She's going to find a way to get her shot or set up her teammates for a score.
One player who has elevated her game since coming back from injury is A&M's Sahara Jones.
Joni Taylor told us while Sahara Jones was out, she watched and she learned. She's playing at a greater pace now. Her defense is up, which is allowing her to get out in transition. And Eric, her free throw attempts are up. But where Sahara Jones thrives is in transition, getting those quick scoring opportunities for the Aggies.
So Jones, who missed 6 games with a back injury, is back and playing well. Went for 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists in the last game for the Aggies against Missouri. That was a loss. Kentucky coming off a loss. 2 teams trying to get on the right track before heading to Greenville next week. Game 1 of our Thursday doubleheader is underway at Reed Arena, and the opening tip is controlled by Texas A&M. Here's Aaliyah Patty, looks for the early entry, and a foul is called on Emma King.
Well, expect Kentucky to play a lot of man, but Kyrie Elsie told us she's going to mix up the defenses here this afternoon, just trying to keep Texas A&M uncomfortable.
Turnovers will be key. Baseline out of bounds play, and it's Sahara Jones who gets the first 2 points of the game.
And that's a good sign for Texas A&M. We can score in those areas, transition, out of bounds plays. It's a good sign for the Aggies.
Blair Green has started every game for Kentucky this season, joined by Walker, Shear, Emma King making her 2nd start of the season, the 6th of her career. Robin Benton is coming off the bench here today. She was ejected from the Vanderbilt game after getting teed up. So Kyra Elsie bringing the leading scorer for Kentucky off the bench here tonight. We'll see how long she stays on the bench. Starting 5 for A&M. Bowles, the freshman, KK Green at the point. We've talked about Jones, Jada Malone working on the inside, and Aaliyah Patty in the post, the leader in rebounds and blocks for Texas A&M. King with an early look for 3 off the mark.
When you're already seeing A&M mixing up their defense, playing a little make it, miss it, going zone on the make, going man on the miss.
Malone is going to get called for the offensive foul as she turned and made contact with Walker. So Kyra Elsie, you just talked about some of the keys here for this Kentucky team, of course, making it to the NCAA tournament last year after their run to an SEC tournament championship. And really, that's kind of the messaging you would expect this time of year for 2 teams that are struggling. All it takes is 1 game and then build some momentum, and you never know what could happen at tournament time. But it starts here today, playing better and playing well heading into the tournament as Green knocks down a 3.
Well, both of these coaches know that their teams did not play well the last time out. So you hit it on the head. Tonight's important for both these ball clubs because they've got to start creating some positive momentum before they head to Greenville.
Shear with the rebound, and Kentucky loves to play up tempo. If they can take care of the basketball, it works well for them, but taking care of the ball has been an issue. They turn teams over, but they have struggled with turnovers. They had 22 turnovers against Vanderbilt, 15 in the first half last game, Christy. Those 22 turnovers led to 26 points.
And this is why I think it's so critical for Maddie Shear to be back for the Wildcats. She plays the point, but Eric, she does so many little things to help this offense function in a fluid manner. And I think the player to watch today, and I asked Kyrie Elsie, who's going to benefit most by Shear being back? And she said Jada Walker.
Why is that? Why will Walker benefit the most with Shear, who takes the shot from deep, is off the mark?
Because basically now you have 2 point guards on the floor. And when Shear's on the floor, it really allows Walker to do what she does best, and that's being an aggressive defender. Be aggressive on offense. And Eric, while Shear was out, Walker averaged 8 points a game, but shot 19% from the field, well below her season averages.
Good defense by Aaliyah to defend Malone, and then it's Patty who turns inside and scores, and a chance for a three-point play.
Aaliyah Patty's just done anything and everything the coaching staff has asked from her this year. Tonight, it's get on the glass and create second chance opportunity with the and one.
So Patty with a chance to tie it in the early going, averaging 8 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, which is 7th in the SEC. Very good free throw shooter at 79%. Nia Russell has checked into the game for Kentucky. So Russell, the first off the bench here today, as you see Patty's numbers on the season. Walker with the rebound. Up to Shear. Walker thought about it. Now the pull up at the free throw line. Almost went. Patty with the rebound. A&M wants to run off the miss.
Well, I think when you're a team that's been struggling to score in the half court, you need to try to create easy scoring opportunities. And for A&M, that means push the tempo and try to get good looks before Kentucky can get set defensively.
Oh, good feed by Russell, feeding it inside to Aaliyah. That started on the defensive end, Christie, with a block by Shear.
And if you're a Kentucky fan, you know this is when Kentucky's at their best, allowing their defense to fuel their offense. They missed Patty down low. She had the matchup that they wanted.
It's all right. They didn't get to her the first time. She'll go get it herself. The putback and a chance for a three-point play.
And Eric, that's just a veteran move by Aaliyah Patty. She didn't get the feed when she had the smaller Walker on her, so she just goes and attacks the glass and powers through to get the and one.
Foul on Blair Green. That is her first. Aaliyah had picked up the earlier foul for Kentucky. There's Joni Taylor in her first year as Texas A&M's head coach. All 6 of their wins this season have come at home at Reed Arena. Trying to go out here with a victory tonight in their home finale. They'll be at Arkansas to close out the regular season on Sunday.
And we're seeing
Shear will
this
set for
zone. Sorry, we're seeing the matchup zone again from A&M, just daring Kentucky to beat them from the outside.
There's the three, then it drops down. Someone who's been trying to find her shot. That is the freshman Sydney Bowles, 24% on the season. The leader in threes made and attempted, and A&M gets a steal on the other end. And a little too aggressive trying to find Sahara Jones, and a turnover for the Aggies.
Where we said that both these teams want to get out in transition. Here, Bowles just spots up. Great lead pass, allows her to get her feet set for the open look.
Bowles against Mizzou was 0 for 6 from outside the three-point line, 1 for 11 overall, so that had to feel good to watch that one drop. Puts A&M on top by 2. And a turnover. Turnover number 2 for Kentucky.
We talked yesterday in terms of what I felt were keys, and for two teams that are scoring offensively, you got to get shots, and that means taking care of the ball, creating second chance opportunities, and so far both teams are struggling to take care of the ball.
Substitution in for Texas A&M, Janiah Barker, who is their leading scorer. So the leading scorers for these two teams coming off the bench here tonight. That's been Barker's position since coming back from injury, where she missed 10 games. And Benton coming off the bench here tonight.
And I think the key, for A&M is to keep Barker on the floor. She's been foul prone lately, especially when they have the ball, and there she picks one up.
Aaliyah Patty with the basket and a chance for a three-point play. Petty coming off an injury, didn't play against Vanderbilt because of an ankle injury. Of course, Kentucky is going to be short-handed in the post here today, Christy, because the news about Nia Leveretter, not good, suffered a torn ACL in the third quarter against Vanderbilt. So Nia is done for the season. I'm sure she's watching back in Lexington. We wish you the very best. Kyra Elzy told us yesterday that when the team got the news, and you take a look at what happened against Vanderbilt and how it's changing here today with Shear returning, that the team was crying, but Nia was the one who wasn't shedding a tear. She was the one trying to console her teammates, trying to, it's like, hey, guys, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to be back better than ever. So, Nia, we wish you the very best. Sorry that your season comes to an early close. I'm sure Nia's pretty pumped that Petty is getting it done in the post right now for Kentucky.
Well, when I asked Kyra Elzy what's going to look different, she said it's not a matter of what the stats show of Nia's impact on her team. It is everything else she does. So, as Eric said, definitely going to be missed, not just physically, but I think leadership-wise as well for the Wildcats.
That is Barker's shot. You can see how silky smooth she can be at times. The question's going to be as she progresses, just finishing out her freshman year. And we talked about before, she missed 10 games with an injury. How good she's going to be. We'll talk about her development as we go along. A&M on top by one. That's Bowles through traffic. Just couldn't get it to drop. Knocked out of bounds, and it'll be Kentucky basketball when we come back with A&M up by one in the early going. Janiah Barker making it look good, and A&M and Kentucky close in the opening minutes. At all the teams in the SEC, where they stand, how they're trending, and what it looks like going forward for them. And I'm going to tell you right now, not much has changed for South Carolina. Number one overall, 33 straight wins and taking on Tennessee tonight. And that bench has been so impressive all season long.
Well, it's what I've always said about the bench. It gives Dawn Staley such a huge margin of error. They can beat you in so many different ways. And the bench has just been spectacular. And Eric, going into the Ole Miss game last Sunday, the bench was outscoring the starters of the opposing teams in the SEC. That's how dominant the bench has been for South Carolina. And their starters aren't bad either.
No, they're not. That's some expert analysis right there. Well done. Zaya Cook, one of those starters, has gone for 20 or more 6 times, including 24 last time out. We were there in Oxford. Ole Miss took South Carolina overtime, but it was another challenging game for South Carolina. I mean, they've been challenged, winning at Stanford, number 2 in the country, at UConn, number 5 in the country, at Maryland. We saw how good Maryland was against Iowa the other night, at Ole Miss in overtime. So that is a team that's facing another challenging road game tonight at Tennessee at Thompson Bowling, and trying to wrap up the number 1 seed in the tournament. Out of the timeout, Barker fighting inside, still fighting forward, and it's taken away by Shear. So we'll take you through all the teams in the league as we go along here tonight, because we love talking about playoff time. It's what we do. That's what we do offline. We're texting each other. We're on the phone with each other. Now we get to do it for 2 hours during this telecast here tonight.
Well, it's not just the players that enjoy March. The adults do as well.
Another rebound for Petty. Robin Benton is checked into the game, and Petty will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple. This has been an issue for Janiah Barker. You talk about her development. Christy Thomas-Gutty staying out of foul trouble going forward is going to be huge for her, because that's been a big issue.
Well, and you just got to learn what's worth the hard contest and what is just better just to wall up. And this is what I was saying. In recent games, Barker has had to sit due to foul trouble. The last 2 games, it's been a lot of offensive fouls. Here, 2 quick defensive fouls that's probably going to force Joni Taylor to sit her the rest of the half, because some people might be, she can score. You need to put her on the court. But to me, Janiah Barker has not shown the discipline to stay on the floor when she's been in foul trouble.
You know, we asked Joni Taylor about, well, what's the next step? When the season ends, what are you expecting from Barker as tonight Hilton is into the game for A&M. Jones can't hit. Talked about getting in better shape. Remember, she missed 10 games and kind of just got in the middle of just her basketball season. So just focus on fitness and nutrition. That's thrown up there for 2 more. And Petty continues to play well in her time here for Kentucky.
Well, Eric, Petty's playing at another level right now. Her energy has been outstanding. And it's not just about putting points on the board for Kentucky. Their mojo is their defense, and they can't set up to press without scoring. And Petty just being resourceful there to create space around Malone to get that shot up.
5 points so far, 3 rebounds for the junior from Baltimore in her first season with Kentucky after coming over from LSU. Did not play, as we mentioned, against Vanderbilt with an ankle injury. Kentucky on top by 1, 2.5 to go in the first quarter. Good job by Texas A&M. It is no secret, Christy, A&M, it has been a struggle offensively for them all season long. That was some pretty good offense right there to get Patty free, but they're averaging just 54 points a game. And you asked Joni Taylor, what's the magic number they need to get to tonight for points? Throw it into the backcourt. That's going to be a turnover on Kentucky. 54 is their average. What was her magic number?
Without hesitation, 55. I mean, that's a coach who believes in her defense and knows if I can get to 55, I'm going to win tonight.
Final 2 minutes of the first quarter with A&M on top by 1. Mackenzie Green. Hilton will try it from outside. That won't drop. And here is Robin Benton. Again, Benton off the bench, averaging better than 16 points a game. And Patty with the foul. So Patty and Barker both have struggled with careless fouls, you can really say, throughout the season for this A&M team. And A&M can't afford it because there are 2 of your top players right there.
Well, and Patty's just the nucleus of what the Aggie defense needs. She talks, she gets people in the right spot. So that's why it's such a big blow when she's limited by fouls.
On the drive, it's going to be a foul on Green. And there you see Robin Benton. Let her frustration get the better of her in the Vanderbilt game. Was 0 for 7 from the field, had 9 turnovers, eventually was ejected. And then Kyra Elzy with additional discipline, in-team discipline, saying you're not going to start. She came off the bench after the first media timeout. She's been battling some injuries throughout the season, most recently 2 games ago against Georgia, missed with an ankle injury. Jones, shut off by Adeyeye.
And again, Kentucky mixing up the defenses, going to their own matchup zone in the half court.
Adeyeye is going to get called for the foul on the drive by Green. That's going to be the 4th team foul.
Well, the best way to beat a zone is ball reversal. Great job by Green to put it on the floor and attack the forward as she was coming out.
So that's 2 on Adeyeye. The baseline out of bounds play. Well, A&M's getting it done on the glass right now. Second chance opportunity for Malone and a chance for a 3-point play.
I think the message to the Aggies was clear. Get on the glass. Already 5 offensive rebounds. This time, Jada Malone with the putback.
Texas A&M is last in the SEC in rebounding margin, -3. And so far, they're a +3 tonight. As Christy mentioned, 5 offensive rebounds out of their 13 total. Here's Benton for 3. Rebound tracked down by Jones. Approaching 1 minute to go in the first.
And Eric, it's something to watch with Adeyeye on the bench now with those 2 fouls. We've already mentioned Leverett out for the year with that ACL. The Wildcats are a little lean when it comes to their post position right now.
Robin Benton buries a 3. Benton leading the team in threes made and attempted. That's her 36th made 3, and another chance for a conventional 3-point play for Texas A&M. I think that's the 4th one tonight that they've had in the first quarter.
Well, if you're going to struggle from the field, get to the free throw line. And Aggies are being aggressive. Not exactly as you draw it up, but Sahara Jones stays with it and gets to the rim.
Now the catch is converting on the three-point play, because so far tonight, A&M is 0 for 3 at the free throw line.
There you go.
Thank you, Sahara Jones. She's got 5. Patty has 6 to pace A&M, up by 2, final minute of the first. Benton, after knocking down one, tries another, can't get it, one and done for Kentucky.
Good decision here by Hilton to pull it out, get the last shot of the quarter.
Shot clock, game clock, just about synced up. Patty will try a 3 and make it. Aaliyah Patty, 31% from outside the three-point line. She's not afraid to take it from beyond the arc, and she puts A&M up by 5 after 1.
Aaliyah Patty with her 14th made 3. A big one for the Aggies. Screen and pops and knocks it down.
Against the number 1 team in the country. We looked at South Carolina's resume just a few minutes ago. Let's continue along as we take a look at the other teams in the SEC as we close out the regular season. These next 2, Thursday, Sunday, are the last 2 days of the season. And LSU, team that's been in that top 16 for a long time now. That reveal's coming up at halftime of the South Carolina-Tennessee game. But this is a team that has been in tighter games as of late, Christy, when you take a look at the scoring margin.
Absolutely. I mean, I think teams are trying to keep Angel Reese, and I say trying because Angel Reese just keeps getting O boards and O boards for her team. But it is a matter right now. I think LSU needs to find more scoring from the rest of the team if this LSU team is going to make a run deep into March.
And again, the NCAA 16-team projection, the second reveal by the committee, is coming up at halftime of that game. And we'll see where LSU is. Will they be on that top line, a 1 seed, or will they be a number 2 seed in that second line? So we'll find that out coming up in a little bit, and we'll pass it along and share our thoughts as we go along. Second quarter here between Kentucky and White and Texas A&M. First possession of the quarter, Texas A&M on a 6-0 run. Benton tries for 3 again, won't drop. Offensive rebound for Maddie Shear, and she'll go to the free throw line.
Well, we talked about that foul by Adieye and how that might affect the Wildcats. Well, now they're going with a 4-guard lineup. And who gets the offensive rebound but the point guard, Maddie Shear, grabbing it, taking it up to get to the free throw line.
So Christy talked about right at the top of the telecast the impact and the difference she has made in her first year with the Wildcats after transferring over from Oregon, averaging 10.5 points a game. 5 rebounds a game. You just saw her get a rebound there for Kyra Elzy. Second in the SEC in assists. And, by the way, outstanding free throw shooter at 92%.
Kyra Elzy just laughed at me yesterday because I said, I am on the Sheer train. I'm a huge fan of this young lady because she just does
She is the conductor of the Sheer train. So get on board, I think, is her point.
Absolutely. Every team needs a player like Maddie Shear. And, Eric, we're seeing a lot of zone by both of these teams because we started and we said it. Both these teams have struggled to shoot well from the outside. So defensively, they're trying to say, you're going to have to beat us from the outside to get this win today.
Kentucky with their 4th turnover. And here comes A&M in transition. Patty with the 3 to close out the quarter. Now with 9 points. Can't add to her total here, and Shear gets the rebound.
Well, if Kentucky's going to go small with the 4 guards, they've got to pick up the pace on offense because they're going to have a lot of outside looks. I would like to see them try to score quickly, and if not, yes, ball reversal, get the open looks.
And a wide open look for Jada Walker, who knocks down the 3. 5 points for Walker, 5-0 run to start the quarter for the Wildcats.
And this is very similar to what A&M faced on Monday against Mizzou. Just a sagging defense, daring them to have to make shots from the outside.
And they struggled to do that against Mizzou. They were 3 for 19 from beyond the arc against the Tigers in that loss on Sunday. Walker will try the 2. Good job by Benton on the offensive glass, and a second chance here for the Wildcats.
Smart decision by Benton to kick the ball out.
Shear couldn't knock down the open 3, and Patty's got the rebound.
And so
Ernie Kindred in the game for A&M. Go ahead, Christy, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was going to say on the miss, Kentucky comes back into man because they can't get 5 people set on defense. So is that an opportunity for A&M to score so they don't have to go against that half-court matchup zone that's just sagging off, daring them to shoot from the outside?
Knocked out of Kindred's hands. It will stay with Texas A&M with 11 to shoot for the Aggies. Bulls perhaps finding the range. That one is a deep 2.
Where fans will always measure success simply on wins and losses. But what I will tell you is the growth I've seen in A&M. This, I think, my 5th game of theirs this year. And so many times on out-of-bounds plays, I've seen the young players just rush through plays instead of executing. Tonight, already 4 points on out-of-bounds plays because each player is owning their responsibility, and that's to set a screen to open up a teammate.
Well, you have seen them since the start of the season. And you know from the start of the season, some of the buzzwords were patience, development, and that's this year. And another word is transition, going from Gary Blair to Joni Taylor and bringing in new faces and veterans leaving the program and moving on to other things. And it's been a challenge. I mean, there's no other way about it. I think she's had the long view throughout the season, just knowing that this is part of a long process, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt this year, which is obviously the case when you look at the record and what you expect Texas A&M to do and how you expect them to perform.
Absolutely, and having been in a practice a couple weeks ago, like I was in awe just how dialed in these young ladies were. They're not playing their record. They are believing in this coaching staff. They are believing that they can continue to get better, and that's why even coming into this week, I think A&M is a dangerous team because this is a team that still believes their best basketball is still ahead of them.
On the pull-up, that's KK Green. First points for Green.
And you just feel like for the Aggies, if they're going to get to 55 points, KK Green needs to be a part of that offensive explosion.
Look, if there's one thing we know about the SEC tournament, anything can happen. We saw it with Arkansas as a 10 seed making their run to the title game 4 years ago. We saw it with this Kentucky team making their run to a championship to play their way into the NCAA tournament, knocking off South Carolina in the championship game. That's the hope you hold on to. That's what you cling to. You take a look at the bracketology. These two teams are not in the picture. The only way they're going to get into the NCAA tournament is if they win the SEC tournament.
Well, Kentucky a year ago at this time was very much on the outside looking in, and what do? Mm-hmm. They rattle off.
They got in. They played their way in.
They cut down the nets to make sure they got in. And so that's what makes March so great. It doesn't matter what you've done. It's only the next game that matters.
Lost out of bounds with 3 on the shot clock. And that's why he talked about at the top of our show here. Don't look at the record, look at how you're playing. You want to find something to build on here, and then on Sunday in the regular season finale, and then try to be dangerous and be that team that runs the table. Barker into the game with the 2 fouls and beats the shot clock on the turnaround fadeaway.
I'm going to say that's 6 points on out-of-bounds plays, but probably more importantly, that was just a heck of a bucket by Barker.
6 straight points for Texas A&M, and the last 6 possessions for Kentucky have been a struggle. Now make it the 7 possessions. They've gone 1 for 5 from the field, and they've turned it over 3 times.
Well, and I don't want to be a broken record, but when they don't score, they have to play half-court man, and this has put so much pressure on their offense to score.
Malone tried to get a hand on it. She touched it last. And it will be Kentucky ball when we come back. Well, Janiah Barker playing with the 2 personal fouls and playing beat the clock to put A&M on top by 6. Peter, that's just a real smart host. Let them carry the show and you just go along for the ride. That's been my formula for a long time. Well, let's take a look at the formula for Tennessee, because they were just talking about what's going on in Knoxville as we continue our look team by team as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season Sunday and the start of the SEC tournament on Wednesday. And this is a Tennessee team, you know the story all season long, Christy Thomas-Scuddy. They have played such a challenging schedule, and here they are. They can finish no lower than 3rd place. And if things just miraculously fell the right way between here and Sunday, which includes Tennessee winning twice, they could have a share of the regular season championship. But just focus on what has gone right here for Tennessee as they're ready for the postseason.
I think they've stayed true to getting better. So many fans were like, what's going on in Knoxville? Well, they played a really difficult schedule. Eric, I had them in early February, and I looked at every one of their losses. Every one of those losses was to a top 20 AP team at that time. I mean, iron sharpens iron, and I think Tennessee's best ball is showing up right now because they've been so tested.
Rickea Jackson has just been on a run, 20 or more in 4 straight games. They've won 3 in a row, 12-2 in the SEC. And the offense is clicking, 86 points per game in their last 4 games. And now taking on South Carolina. And they'll keep you up to date on that at halftime. 4:10 to go in the first half of our game here at Reed Arena. And Kentucky ends a 6-0 run for A&M with the Benton bucket.
Well, I asked Kyra Elsie yesterday. I said, you saw how Mizzou defended A&M and the struggles they had. And it's almost against Kentucky's DNA to play a passive defense. But she said, we're going to throw everything at them because we are trying to get a W here.
Janiah Barker has 6. A&M back on top by 6. Maddie Shear back in the Kentucky lineup. She wanted to play against Vanderbilt in Nashville, but the training staff and head coach Kyra Elsie said, no, you're not cleared to play. And Maddie, by Kyra's telling, said, I'm going to put my uniform on and I'm going to play. And they're like, no, you're not. And I don't know if they hit her uniform or what happened, but she did not play against Vanderbilt, but ready to go here today.
Well,
King drops it off to Petty.
A coach does have to sub you in, and that's where Kyra Elsie is like, I'm not going to sub you in.
That's right.
So just have a seat.
She does have the last word, yes. It's not like hockey where you can just go change on the fly. Here's Bowles. Inside of 3 to play, first half.
If I'm Aggies right now, I look to Barker down low. Had Emma King on her. Emma gets called for that foul because your hockey reference, she just body checked Barker across the lane.
Wow. Excellent job. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. But this is the 4-guard lineup right now for Kentucky. So if I am Texas A&M, I'm looking to exploit the lack of size of one of the players, get the mismatch, get the ball to a high percentage look.
A lot on Petty's shoulders right now. Great fake by Bowles. Just wouldn't drop, and Benton's got the rebound. Benton, good catch by Aaliyah Patty, who got caught in pretty deep, and she'll earn a trip to the free throw line. Well, Petty has earned a lot so far in this first half for this Kentucky team.
Well, Petty kept that possession alive, pure and simple. Was led a little bit too far. She stayed with it and just took it up. Her ability to contort herself and get beyond the outstretched arms of the defense has been really inspiring to watch her this evening.
As Petty goes to the line, Patty looks at the bench because Aaliyah Patty's got 2 personal fouls. Aaliyah Patty now with 8 points on 3 of 4 shooting, 5 rebounds, 2 on the offensive glass, an assist and a steal in the first half for the Wildcats. Oh, good dish. Barker with the finish. KK Green drops the dime, and A&M back on top by 5.
Well, for a head coach to take a risk and put Barker in the way Joni Taylor is, it's paying off. Already 6 points since she picked up that second foul and been reinserted into the game.
Barker feeling it. She has scored the last 6, making the last 9 Aggie points. Shear gets free. That won't drop. Bowles with the rebound. Can Barker keep the run going? Patty will keep it going for A&M, and a timeout is called by Kentucky as the Aggies have gone on a run here to go up double digits here in the first half.
Well, for a team that struggled to score throughout this
10 games after that game, and you see her potential. You've seen the flashes here just in this game of what she's able to do. Now, can she do that consistently? Can she focus on the details? Right now, that focus is pretty clear as she's helped A&M to a 7-0 run to go up by 10.
I like the timeout by Kyra Elsie. She needs to get her team regrouped, and they've had some good looks in the half court. Here now against the matchup, they need ball reversal. I'd love to see the ball get to the high post and then look inside.
Benton. Russell off the window for 2. Remember, Kentucky came out, scored the first 5 points of the quarter, tied the game at 21. Since that point, A&M has outscored the Wildcats 15-7, but now Kentucky trying to cut into the deficit a little bit more, and Barker has to let Benton go with the 2 fouls.
And that's a veteran move by Robin Benton, knowing Barker had the fouls, challenged her, saw her jump out of the way, took it up strong.
8 points for Robin Benton. A&M will slow things down. Final minute, second quarter.
You see the isolation there for Aaliyah Patty down low, and they just missed her.
And a foul is called on Kentucky. Robin Benton gets called for the offensive foul.
Robin Benton just trying to make something happen and just pushes KK Green out of the way.
I mean, push is a little strong.
Love taps out of the way.
Final second quarter. Green, hounded by Benton, always has been an outstanding defender in the conference. Barker, Benton comes back and knocks it away. Those quick hands that we've seen over the last few years from Robin Benton.
Great effort by Kentucky to make sure that Barker didn't get that shot up. Now can they finish off the quarter and get this stop?
Off the hands of Jones, and that one is going to come too late, and that will do it for the first half. Texas A&M shot 46% from the field in the first half to lead by 6 as we head to the break. And we head by regions, ready for half number 2 at Reed Arena with Texas A&M on top at the half by 6. Just the 7th time this season they've had a halftime lead. They went 5-1 the first 6 times they had the lead at halftime. Eric and Christy back here with you. What stood out to you from that first half, Christy?
Well, a little Reed magic for Aaliyah Patty in a big way. A double-double already in only 15 minutes of action for the senior.
Patty and Petty show, really, for these two teams in that first half. You want to start with Patty, and then we'll go to Petty? Let's go with Patty.
Well, Aaliyah Patty, playing in her last game in a Reed Arena, is balling out. She's done it off the bounce. She's attacked the offensive glass already with 11 points and 10 rebounds in only 15 minutes of action. The veteran has come up big for the Aggies in the first half.
On the other end, off the bench for Kentucky, Aaliyah Patty, really good, did a lot of things well.
Playing at just such high energy in that first half. She's attacked off the bounce, and when she has been walled up or stopped, she has been resourceful, using her moves, using her counters to create space over the taller Aggie players to get her shot up.
8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 on the offensive glass, 2 steals for Petty in the first half. Patty, the double-double, as Christy mentioned. The bench points, well, Robin Benton, the leading scorer for Kentucky, coming off the bench. She had 8 in the first half, and Janiah Barker had 11 for Texas A&M. And right out of the locker room, Texas A&M adds to their lead with Sahara Jones.
Great execution of the set play by the Aggies out of the break. That's the way you want to start off at a quarter when you've been playing well offensively.
Blair Green turns and scores. 5 points now for Green.
I asked Kyra Elsie yesterday, who has to play well for you to win? And she said Blair Green. She didn't hesitate. She has to be able to stretch the defense out and knock down some shots.
Jones on the drive, lost the handle. Patty there to bail out her teammate. Can't score. Jada Malone, a little too aggressive on the glass, gets called for the foul.
Well, first play out of the half. They bring Jones around on a curl off the weak side elbow. Great pass, even better finish by Sahara Jones.
Walker back out to Shear. Robin Benton starting here in the second half. Take it away. Good defensive play by KK Green. She'll turn the defense into offense.
Very patient move by KK Green. Didn't force it, measured it, and then knocked it down.
Blair Green can't knock down the three. Jones with the rebound. Texas A&M a +4 in rebounding margin over Kentucky. Walker, outstanding defensive player on the perimeter. Got a hand on it. Malone back to Green.
Well, if you're going against Jada Walker, you cannot
telegraph. Patty. Oh, Patty. Double-double in the first half. Let's start working towards a triple-double with assists like that.
The big for the Aggies right now are saying, we don't need the guards. We got this.
Back to a 10-point lead for A&M. Benton over Malone, too strong. Jones with the rebound. Patty. Bowles can't hit the three.
Patty raised her hand up. She is going for the triple-double, Eric. She wanted that assist.
Well, she's got 2, so she's got some work to do, but she's already got the points and rebounds into doubles. Oh, tough drive by Walker. Patty there with the defense.
Patty now is becoming the point guard. Just
yeah, she's now handling it. She's just showing it like she's just emptying the toolkit right now.
Well, and that's what she's done all season. Whatever the staff has asked of her, one game it was assist, another game it's rebounding, another game it's her scoring. She has just been the Swiss Army knife for this Aggie team in terms of her skill set this season.
Malone, beautiful move to get free for 2. Six points for Jada Malone on 3 of 6 shooting, and an early timeout called by Kentucky as Texas A&M has taken their largest lead of the game.
Aaliyah Patty on the drive, on the dish. Jada Malone with the easy 2.
Closer to Greenville and the SEC tournament, which begins on Wednesday. And this is an interesting grouping right here, because here's Alabama, Christy Thomas, Scuddy, and Netta 22. They have lost to Florida tonight, though, 81-77 the final, because they are tied at the hip with Ole Miss heading into these final 2 games of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, a tough loss for the Crimson Tide tonight. I think they're in the tournament. You see their net. They had a really challenging non-conference schedule, but obviously, we talk about it. You want to have positive momentum going into Greenville. Not the way to start it off this week for Alabama.
See, Ole Miss 27 in net. Ole Miss is taking on Mizzou tonight. They're up by 9 in the second half. This is Ole Miss team that took South Carolina to overtime. They held Utah and Oklahoma and LSU and South Carolina, 4 of the top scoring teams in the country, all under 70 points. what's interesting about this now, Christy, is it was looking more and more, and it still could be the case that Ole Miss-Alabama showdown on Sunday was going to determine who was going to finish fourth in the SEC, which is, of course, so important because that gives you the double bye, and you don't play till Friday. Ole Miss now has the inside track as long as they win here tonight against Mizzou.
Well, even with a win tonight, if they were to lose in Tuscaloosa next week, Alabama would get the head-to-head advantage and get that fourth seed. So for Alabama, not all is done yet, but for Ole Miss, a big step in the right direction if they can hang on with a win over Mizzou.
It's a great point because Alabama won the earlier meeting this season. So if Alabama wins, then you get that tiebreaker. So still plenty to play for in that 4-5 matchup coming up on Sunday, but setback for Alabama tonight, losing to Florida. KK Deans with 22 for the Gators in the victory tonight. Well, Texas A&M outstanding from the field here, coming out of the locker room in the second half, Christy. 7 of their last 9, 4 of 6 in the half. And Kentucky gets a basket from Benton. They needed that.
Yeah, you just feel like if Kentucky's going to get a win here today, Benton, Shear, Blair Green all need to have some big offensive burst here in the second half.
Patty on the turnaround. Rebound to Green.
Patty had more time than she thought when she caught and shot that ball. The high post was wide open for her.
Ooh, tough drive and the finish by Anaya Russell. So good response here by Kentucky. And Aaliyah Patty is hurt. Officials stopping play. They're going to clean up the floor a little bit here. And Patty back behind the officials. They're just giving her a moment here. The athletic trainer has not come out. You can see some contact perhaps as Patty comes to the bench. So the officials are going to go to the monitor here perhaps to see if there should be something called. So we'll see if there is an intentional foul here. We'll take the timeout as well. 7-point game, third quarter.
Every day I work.
All right, Aaliyah Patty seems to be okay. She was hit in the face during that last exchange. Nothing is being called here, just incidental contact as Russell just, as she was going down, that left hand came through. They went to the monitor. Nothing's going to be called here, although Aaliyah Patty has a souvenir she'd rather not have. 11-11 for Patty. And remember, this is her final home game. And as you talked about before, Christy, you're going to do everything you can to go out a winner in your final home game. And if it means you get a bruised jaw, then so be it. But it's the numbers that have been good for Patty. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists.
Well, and she earned a break already with her double-double. And so, most importantly, you're just happy to see that she's okay.
Barker, dribble drive, will earn a trip to the free throw line.
And you're seeing why Janiah Barker is such a difficult matchup. 6'4", but is a guard, has perimeter skills, catches it at the high post, can see everything, and just so explosive off the bounce.
Barker at the free throw line. A little strong on the first. So this is the final Thursday of the regular season. The final Sunday of the regular season will feature 4 games on the SEC Network, starting at noon Eastern Time and closing out 6 o'clock Eastern Time. Mississippi State taking on LSU right here on the SEC Network, also on the ESPN app.
So, Eric, you started off the SEC season. It looks like you will end.
I will bring the
season
curtain down on the regular season, yes. Be there on Sunday with Matthew Mitchell, former Kentucky head coach. 6-point game as Kentucky chipping away at what was a double-digit deficit. Double-figure points for Aaliyah Patty. Jones trying to rip down the rebound, and let's check on the foul. I think it's going to be on Anaya Russell. It is.
Well, I thought Barker had the drive if she had continued to her right, but great effort by Sahara Jones to get on the glass and extend the play for the Aggies.
First personal foul on Russell. KK Green. Green will head to the free throw line. Green has been getting it done with the assist with 8 tonight for the Aggies. To go along with 4 points, chance to add to it here at the free throw line.
And she leads the Aggies in assists on the year, averaging 2.7. And you've seen her game evolve to really a different role for her in terms of what Joni Taylor and her staff want in terms of a true point guard. And I think the example is 8 assists. Tonight hasn't been called on to try to score that much, has been getting the ball to her teammates when they needed it to score.
Well, it's been one of the big narratives all season long, hasn't it, with Texas A&M, Joni Taylor's first year. You think about that veteran group last year with Destiny Pitts and Jordan Nixon and Kayla Wells and Kadasha Hoppy. As a result, KK Green scored 20 points all of last season and playing a bigger role this year. Second chance here for A&M. Hilton, shot clock at 7. Green on the pull-up. Battle for the loose ball, won by A&M on the offensive glass again. 10 offensive rebounds, yes. Sahara Jones with a flat tire.
Did you ever wear the pumps, Eric?
I was very much a fan of Dee Brown. So I was a fan of what Dee Brown did with the pumps, but no, I did not have the pumps.
Oh, so as I was watching Sahara put her shoe on, I'm like, oh, the pumps would have been so much quicker.
So all you youngsters, ask your grandparents what the pumps were.
They were cool at the time.
Adeyeye just picked up her 4th personal foul. So that's huge. As we talked about before, Nia Leveretter out for the season with an ACL. Adeyeye will go to the bench. So there goes some work on the boards and on the interior. Zanaya Thomas into the game for Kentucky.
So for Kentucky now, 4-guard lineup with Thomas in the game. This is where pick the pace up. I'd love to see them on a make, extend some full court defense, create the advantage of being smaller right now.
Three and a half to go, third quarter. Benton tees up a 3. $14 now for Benton off the bench.
Kentucky doing a great job of sharing the ball in this game. 12 assists on 16 made field goals.
Green will try from outside, and she was fouled taking a 3-pointer. 3 free throws coming for KK Green. Second personal on Benton.
Every coach will tell you, never foul a jump shooter. Robin Benton trying to get out there to contest Green. Just goes a little bit too far into the body of Green.
KK Green piling up points at the free throw line. Green now with 7. That's her season average. 1 more to come. Joni Taylor's team led by 12 in the third quarter. That lead now at 7. Shear with the push. Kentucky's been good from the field last few minutes. 4 for their last 4. Green can't keep it going, and Barker's got the rebound.
Eric, one thing of note for Texas A&M is Joni Taylor's been able to sub. Tough defensive stand there by Thomas for Kentucky.
Was going to be a layup for Texas A&M, but Thomas takes the contact. Foul on the Aggies. So no basket.
What I was going to say, though, is Joni Taylor and her staff have been able to sub between Malone, Barker, and Patty freely because the foul trouble since the second on Barker has been minimized. And the bigs have done their job already above their average on the year in terms of paint points.
Russell on the miss on one end. Jones pushes the other end and is fouled, and she'll go to the free throw line. Foul on Shear, her second personal. And here is Sahara Jones. Jones at the free throw line. I didn't know I'd have time to talk about Friday Night Heights, but I always have time to talk about Friday Night Heights, even when it's a triple header, because you know the triple header tomorrow night, 6 teams, all nationally ranked, starting at 6 o'clock Eastern time here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. I know how to stick the landing on Friday Night Heights promo reads. Barker quickly into the front court.
I feel like you always stick the landing there, partner.
Malone kicks it to the corner. Three-pointer on the way from Hilton. Second chance again for Texas A&M. Barker.
You see Kentucky now trying to go double Barker when she gets the ball anywhere down low.
Jones sets for 3. Malone with the rebound. A&M is getting it done on the glass against Kentucky.
12 offensive rebounds for Texas A&M, leading to 12 second chance points in this game. Hey, Eric, they always say if at first you don't succeed, try again. Jada Malone not able to go up and get it, so tips it to herself to gain control and put it in.
4 offensive rebounds for Malone. She has 4 total rebounds, by the way, so all of them coming on the offensive end. Sheer open 3. Got it. First field goal for Maddie Shear after starting 0 for 5 from the field and 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. 8-point game with a minute to go in the third. Green? No, but you know what A&M can do? They can get on the offensive glass, but then Hilton throws it away. Shear with numbers the other way. Maddie Shear goes all the way, takes a hard fall. Couldn't get it to go, and back the other way for Barker. Don't know if that's how they drew it up, but they'll take it. Jones with the basket. Back to a 10-point game. Take note of the point total for Texas A&M, Christy. 55. That was the magic number for Joni Taylor. They're there in the third quarter. Final seconds of the quarter, picked up by Barker. She'll heave it down the floor, and that will do it. A&M ends up outscoring Kentucky. All right, Peter, closing in on clinching the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament coming up next week in Greenville. We do know that South Carolina won't play until Friday. It'll be a place I think they could be pretty comfortable in if things come together, because the second reveal by the NCAA selection committee was out, and no question South Carolina, the overall number 1. Remember how things are set up with the 2 regional sites this year. So they could play in Greenville. Well, they play in Columbia first 2 rounds. If you win there, then they'd be in Greenville to try to advance on to the Final Four in Dallas. Any thoughts here on the reveal, Christy, that came out at halftime of that Tennessee-South Carolina game? LSU, not a number 1 seed. They're in that 5 spot just outside the top 4.
Yeah, I think in terms of the SEC, I think a lot of people thought LSU would probably move into that 4th spot. But, I mean, great showing, not only for the Big Ten, but also for the Pac-12 here.
The Seattle Regional is where LSU would be slotted right now, with Utah as the number 1 seed. LSU is the 2, Ohio State and Texas, 3 and 4. So that is the second and final top 16 reveal. As we get closer to the postseason, it is almost here in the SEC. Fourth quarter is here between A&M and Kentucky, with Texas A&M on top by 10. Knocked away, 10 to shoot for the Aggies.
And when you're going against a matchup zone like both these teams have been playing, you got to know your next pass before the ball hits your hand. Hilton had Barker, but she caught it, paused. That's why the ball got deflected out of bounds.
Aaliyah Patty back into the game for the Aggies. Here's Barker, defended by Thomas. Rebound for Jada Walker. Just inside the free throw line, it won't drop. Patty boxes out Petty for the rebound.
Kentucky going man here. I'd love to see them get, for the Aggies, I'd love to see Barker get down low and post up.
Instead, it's a turnover for the Aggies. Can Kentucky score off the turnover is the question. Benton made a nice adjustment to score. 16 for Robin Benton.
And that was just pure will by Robin Benton, creating something out of nothing for the Wildcats. Now, for Kentucky, can they put together a run? They need to stop here and then start to create some momentum on the both ends of the floor.
Jones will try a 3 and make the 3. Sahara Jones stays hot. She has been so good for the Aggies in recent weeks. Even though the team has struggled, she has done all she can to elevate her game and elevate her team, and they're back up on top by 11. Walker leans in for 2.
Barker hits the floor, looks at the official, and the official immediately shaking his head like no.
A&M, there'll be a yes on that. Foul called on Thomas.
Sahara Jones just getting those feet set, ready to rock and roll, knocking down a big 3 for the Aggies.
Yeah, her last 4 games coming into this game, Christy, 11.5 points a game on average, 16 of 32 from the field. And you see, compared to the rest of the team, like we said, she's doing what she can to elevate her team. And she's got a double-double tonight. So Patty and Jones both with double-doubles for Texas A&M.
Well, I liked what Joni Taylor had to say. Sahara Jones missed 6 games. Sometimes a player misses games and they just never get back to playing quality basketball. Sahara Jones learned, watched, and was better coming out of that 6-game break. And you're seeing it pay dividends now for her team.
Second double-double this season for Sahara Jones and of her career. Her first 2 seasons for the Aggies, 2 starts, played in 46 games, averaged 2.5 points a game. She's elevated her play this year. Barker somehow came down with it and got a shot off. Shot clock down to 2, down to 1, and Jones won't get it off in time. Turnover number 13 for the Aggies. Shear will try the 3. Jones has the rebound, and A&M will run off the miss. Barker down the court. No. Look who's fighting on the glass, though. It's Jones who gets tied up with Petty. Possession arrow will give it to Kentucky.
That's when Barker probably would have been better served to go up with that left hand, but credit Sahara Jones for staying with the play. Just so explosive off the ground.
Inside of 7 minutes to go in the fourth. Benton with a deep three. 19 for Robin Benton. 6-point game.
Kentucky going to straight up man-to-man now in the half court.
KK Green on the pull-up, rattles it in for 2. Green into double figures with 10. Benton on the drive, can't get it. Patty with the rebound. Inside of 6 minutes to go in the fourth. And looks like KK Green stepped out of bounds. Kentucky ball.
Benton hit a big three. Then KK Green says, I got you back. Comes off that high on ball screen and elevates with the jumper.
Shear finds Walker. Petty slaps it out of play. Should be Texas A&M ball, and it is.
Kentucky switching up the defense again, going back to the
zone,
matchup.
Exactly. Yep. Petticord in the game. That got knocked away, and here comes Walker. Doesn't have possession, though, and back the other way. Barker's all alone. $14 now for Barker.
Big answer by
Answered
Shear
back by
there.
Shear.
Yeah, at some point, I feel like Kentucky's got to extend their defense. Down 8 now. They need to just switch things up more into the full court, force A&M into making some decisions.
Media timeout, 8-point game, 4:50 to go in the fourth quarter in College Station. All right, Peter, looking forward to that one. That is perfect timing for us here as we continue to look at the teams in the SEC outside of our game here. And, yeah, you're talking about bubble teams. Georgia's in, but their net is 36. You can see they've been so good as of late, winning 6 of the last 7. They're in a battle right now with Auburn, and they take on South Carolina on Sunday. Mississippi State and Arkansas are next 2 teams. Mississippi State at 35 net. They are tied for 6th with Georgia, and then Arkansas at 48 in the net. They're tied for 8th with Mizzou, and that is so critical coming up our next game between Mississippi State and Arkansas, as Peter just mentioned, Christy.
Absolutely. I mean, when you talk about Mississippi State and Arkansas, you're talking about 2 teams that are actually trending in opposite directions. Can Arkansas right the ship? We all know how good the offense can be for Arkansas. It just hasn't been there the last couple of games. Can they take that offense on the road and get an upset here, or get an upset in Starkville this evening?
Shot clock winding down. A&M turns it over. Here comes Kentucky on the push. Blair Green tried to drop it down to Adeyeye, but it's out of her reach in a turnover by Kentucky.
Really unfortunate for the Wildcats. Right read by Green just led Adeyeye a little bit too far.
So here comes some pressure, Christy. That's what you talked about heading into the timeout.
And I got to believe out of that timeout, Joni Taylor also told her team to be ready for it, hence the home run ball.
They were ready for it. Patty throws the touchdown pass to Jones. 16 points for Sahara Jones. Green is short. Patty with the rebound. And that means Kentucky can't set up their pressure.
And no need to foul right now by Kentucky, but they got to get solid defensively, contain the dribble penetration, talk on the on-ball screens, get through, and then most importantly, if you're a Wildcat fan, box out.
Barker to Patty. Aaliyah playing with 5. Outside Petticord, no. Aaliyah puts it into Shear's hands. Trying to thread it through to Green, who had to tiptoe to keep it in play, and now back the other way come the Aggies. No need to be in a hurry here, and Petticord slams on the brakes. Barker turns and scores. Janiyah Barker with 16 points. And a timeout called by Kentucky with 3:01 to go. Well, they came out with the pressure out of the timeout, Christy, but A&M was ready.
Offensive end.
So Kentucky calls the timeout. Texas A&M trying to hold on, trying to snap their 6-game losing streak, closing out their home schedule. And they've gotten strong performances from Aaliyah Patty, a double-double, 11 points, 14 rebounds. Sahara Jones, 16 points, 11 rebounds. Barker with 16 points. Green with 10, so 4 in double figures for A&M tonight. Benton passes up the chance to take the 3, gives it off to Shear for the 2.
And out of the make, then they can extend this full-court pressure. They force the turnover.
And they're good at it. Aaliyah may have had Petty on the back door, but no need to force it here. Plenty of time, 2.5 to go. Benton drops it down to Aaliyah, and Barker's got the rejection.
Barker doesn't give up on the play, times it perfectly, gets the block, and then has the stare down to her own teammate.
It's all right if you do it to your own teammate.
Has just the same effect, in my opinion.
Yeah. Shear. She was fouled, taking the jumper, and she'll go to the free throw line again. We told you before, outstanding free throw shooter. So a mistake there by A&M to foul Maddie Shear and put her at the line with the clock stopped. 2:21 to go.
22, Maddie Shear to the line of the Wildcats, shooting 2.
And I got to believe, not to put too much pressure on Shear here, but after she makes both these free throws, we're going to see the full court pressure yet again from Kentucky.
Shear now into double figures with 10. 1 of 2.
And Joni Taylor gets another ball handler in the game, knowing that Kentucky's going to start extending this pressure.
Mackenzie Green, KK Green in the game, and Patty is fouled. As she turns to score, she'll shoot 2.
Wildcats foul number 1, Robert Benton, that is her 3rd.
The footwork by Patty, so good. Faces, takes that first dribble to get the step on Petty to get by her. This Patty matchup tonight.
You say the name Patty a lot and the name Petty a lot, and Patty and Petty have gone head-to-head a lot here tonight.
Well done.
Petty's got 10 points, 6 rebounds. Patty, 11 points, 14 boards. The most experienced player on this A&M roster. Delivers at the free throw line. That's her first point of the second half. As we approach 2 minutes to go in the fourth. Benton, not this time, but there is Petty. Second chance for Kentucky. Shear is fouled by Barker, who's hurt.
Aggies foul number 2, Janiyah Barker, that is her 3rd. Team foul number 2. 13 to the low returns for
Shear with a drive. Looks like hit that hip bone. I did see Barker saying, I'm okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, she wanted to stay in the game. The hip or just the shoulder right into the gut. So Shear at the free throw line. Barker does go to the bench.
And I got to say, I like the decision by Maddie Shear not to settle for an outside shot and drive it to the rim.
Maddie Shear has scored the last 7 points scored by the Wildcats. That second make. Here's the pressure. Trying to set up the trap. KK Green weaves through traffic. 3-on-1 the other way, and KK Green will go all the way.
She's a one-woman press breaker. Kentucky doesn't need threes, but they need to go quick. Try to get a shot off. Taking way too much time right here.
Shear to Adeyeye on the turnaround, no. And a foul is going to be called on Kentucky. That'll be the 4th team foul on the Wildcats, so no free throws yet for Texas A&M. But time is running out for the Wildcats, down 10 with 1:24 to go.
We assume Kentucky's going to press again, but someone needs to stop KK Green because the last time went 1 versus 5 all the way down the floor and scored.
Again, they go with the touchdown pass to break the pressure. Patty to Green for another A&M touchdown.
I don't know if Jimbo needs a quarterback, but the Aggies have one here in Reed Arena. Beautiful pass, led KK Green to the rim, and she acknowledges her post player with the gotcha.
That's 4 assists for Patty. 12, 15, and 4 here in her final home game. Benton for 2. 21 now for Robin Benton.
If you're Texas A&M, don't run to the baseline to catch this inbounds pass because it's too easy to be trapped.
Did A&M get a timeout in time? I don't think so. I think a 5-second call. A&M has all their timeouts, and a mistake by the Aggies. They didn't get the timeout, and a 5 count goes against the Aggies. So a turnover, and Kentucky gets a wide open 3 from Walker. That would have been huge, but instead it heads out of bounds, and it's Texas A&M basketball.
Really unfortunate for Kentucky. And you see Kyra Elsie there saying foul immediately, trying to stop this clock.
Got a foul.
You got to catch him to foul.
A&M has shown they can break the pressure and score when they break the pressure, and they do it again.
So Kentucky's gone to the press and at least 8 points now. A&M has been able to execute press breaker and score.
Maddie Shear for 3.
Interesting that Johnny Taylor's not calling timeout to advance the ball.
Yeah, great call. They just had a 5 count a moment ago. They've got all their timeouts. It's kind of an idea of just trying to let them play through the pressure, I guess, but 31.5 to go. And Mackenzie Green steps to the free throw line. Green just 3 for 6 on the season from the line. And that's her first point tonight. There are some impressive numbers being posted tonight by Texas A&M players. We have 3 double-doubles on the court tonight. That's off the mark, and I think Kentucky wanted a timeout before the ball was put down. Now, bodies were on the floor. There was not a foul called. I think Kyra Elsie wanted a timeout and got it. So they'll advance into the front court in a 10-point game. All right, so they're just sorting everything out. But it's a timeout for Kentucky, and that gives us a chance to give praise to the 3 double-doubles for Texas A&M here today this season.
It's interesting that Kentucky called their final timeout there with 30 seconds to go. So I always say I don't think they need to settle for a 3. If they get a wide open look from 3 here, you take it. Otherwise, You need to score quickly. Now it's all about score, try to get a quick foul or force the turnover and extend this game.
Have to think they're looking for Shear or Benton outside the three-point line. Taking a lot of time here. Here's Shear for three. Kentucky's not done yet. Maddie Shear comes through with a three.
And A&M electing again not to call timeout.
Into the front court. Kentucky will not foul. 3 double-doubles for Texas A&M. Their 6-game losing streak comes to an end. And they get a win over Kentucky. 74-67 is the final.
Well, for a Texas A&M team,